Good afternoon. Welcome to the All Hands on Deck show. I'm Reverend Ira J. Ackery. Once again, we are so excited to greet you on our weekly telecast. We're here every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. We are committed to leveling the educational and economic playing fields for all. Listen, you can catch us live on Facebook as well. I have a great guest with me today, Commissioner Richard Boykin. It is such a great honor to have one of the hardest working men here in Chicago, here in Cook County, here in Illinois. Man, listen, he has really proven himself to be an advocate for our people. He's committed to leveling the economic and educational playing field for everyone. Since the day he was elected, he hit the ground running. He hit the ground making a case. He hit the ground talking about the senseless epidemic of violence must stop. He came up with a 7-point plan to decrease the violence, and everybody has been touting his plan, not giving him the credit, but nevertheless, he's not worried about that. He's committed to the cause. He is the most visible elected official on reducing the gun violence in the state of Illinois. While other politicians are talking, he's walking the walk. Welcome to the show, Commissioner Richard Boykin, my commissioner of the 1st District. God bless you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Reverend. I'm honored to be here, and let me say I'm going to take you everywhere with me throughout the district.
All right. Well, listen, man, we're excited to have you. You have been just very instrumental in trying to speak to this epidemic of violence. You went around and you hosted 9 community meetings in 9 endangered communities. And you heard the people out. You heard the people out. You heard the people out. And you came together with a vision that addresses this epidemic. And what I like about it is it's right in sync with what I believe, that the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. And you have implemented, or you have cast, rather, a vision for the people. We want you to tell today our viewing audience what this is all about and how this Neighborhood Revitalization Act will benefit our neighborhoods, make life, the quality of life, better for everyone and the county at large. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. The post-Obama presidency, how minorities and the marginalized can survive, the Trump presidency and all of that. But let's start talking about this Neighborhood Revitalization Act.
Well, Reverend, I want to thank you for your commitment to making our neighborhoods safe and for being on the wall and being steadfast and resolute in terms of your commitment to fight this violence as well. We hosted one of those endangered community listening tour meetings at your church.
Sure.
And, you know, one of the things that we heard from the people time and time again is that they wanted police who lived in their community to police their community, police who looked like them policing in their community. People said that they wanted teachers to teach their kids who lived in those communities.
Sure.
And I think it makes a lot of sense. Look, in many of these communities in Austin, unemployment 21%, West Garfield Park unemployment 25.2%, Inglewood unemployment 26%, Auburn Gresham unemployment 22%, back of the yards. I mean, these are the communities that we target in the Neighborhood Revitalization Act initially. There will be other communities included. But this is a bill that I believe, once we pass it, will actually help to stabilize our communities, revitalize our communities, and rebuild our communities. That's what we need. Look, we got too many professionals who are leaving. If we have a policeman who's living on your block, then chances are that they aren't going to be dealing drugs on that block. If we have a firefighter in your neighborhood as your neighbor, we help to bring the community up. If we have a teacher, the teacher gets an opportunity to run into the students at the grocery store, the local restaurants. The teacher begins to have respect for the kids and understand what their plight is. it helps to break down the barriers between police and the community, and it's a jobs component to it
Sure.
because we have 5,000 plus vacant lots in the city of Chicago that the city owns. We have thousands of vacant and abandoned properties and foreclosed homes. These are homes that we got to put back on the tax rolls. These are homes that we got to get people living in. And so what we do is we say to developers that you have to use 30% of at-risk youth from these endangered communities to rehab these properties and or to rebuild these homes.
That is awesome. And I'm so excited about it because it seems like it looks like it's almost intentional. It seems like there's a land grab. I think they want many of our minorities to leave and just to evacuate the city. I think this counteracts and it resists that momentum of blacks exiting and browns exiting. This is a great tool, I believe, because I personally believe that the top 5 professions, the most important professions are 3 of them you already listed: firemen, police officers, teachers, and then nurses and doctors. In my opinion, those are the most important and the most needed professions. A society cannot survive without those 5. Everybody is important, but those 5 are very much needed. And I'm also excited to know that you have some support. And if you want to have your question asked today, we're talking about it, giving you a little insight, but feel free to call us at 312-738-1060. Talking with the 1st District Commissioner, Richard Boykin. He's doing a great job. You got some support to assure us that this is going to happen. We know casting a vision is one thing, but implementing it and making it happen, executing it, how close are we to that?
Look, I think we're very close. We have a number of my colleagues who've already agreed to sign on to the legislation because they believe in it in principle. They also know that we must rebuild these endangered communities. Already this year, 23rd of January, we have over 230 people shot already in Chicago, 40 plus people killed already. That we're on pace to have a year like 2016 where we had nearly 800 people killed.
Sure.
And 4,400 people shot. We cannot have that kind of pace this year because nearly 80% of those who are killed and shot are African Americans. I'm concerned about it. We're killing each other. It's a total genocide in some of these neighborhoods. It makes Chicago look bad. So we have support. Assessor Barrios, Joe Barrios, has worked on this with me. He's a partner in this. Mayor Rahm Emanuel supports it 120%. We also have the chairwoman of the West Side Black Elected Officials, Alderwoman Emma Mitz, and a number of others. We expect to have a ton of people supporting it. We're pleased to have the community support. Look, that's going to be the most important thing, is having the community support, because obviously elected officials, they act on behalf of the people, and the people have the real power. And so I want to encourage the people to push this bill through, because once we push it through, it's going to be a great celebration. Look, you're talking about giving free homes to police, firefighters, teachers, EMTs, individuals who will help to bring a community up. And many of these communities certainly need it. They're in desperate need of that.
I want to pause a minute. I want to pause and thank you for making it possible that our church on the west side, the church that I pastor, Greater St. John Bible Church at 1256 North Waller, you made it possible that once a week that a workshop for employment takes place at our church. It's at my church. It's called Great Jobs. It's called EEC, actually, Employers Service. We're looking forward to getting more people with jobs, getting more people with referrals, giving them some resume assistance. We're excited about this. This is every Wednesday from 9:30 a.m. to noon. How did you pull that off? Because I'm so glad that you did. These people need jobs, because we're talking about the violence, we're talking about poverty, And it's not just enough to talk about it. We got to do something tangible to help people get on the right track. All the social despair that's around under our nose, you've done something very significant. I appreciate that. And you're helping people all across the country, county get jobs. Can you tell your listeners more about this program?
Well, Reverend, what I know is that people are frustrated. I look in their faces, I hear it in their voice. They're frustrated. They want a job. They want to work. And so we have to make sure that we have opportunities available. The City of Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, they get $60 million from the federal government every year to put people into job training and to put people into jobs. And so I've been very critical of them because it seems as though we have an unemployment rate that is staggering in the African American community. In fact, African Americans for the last year have led the country in terms of unemployment. The highest level of unemployment in the state of Illinois has led the entire country.
It's really sad, right here in the home of the President of the United States for 8 years. And man, so I'm glad you have done something tangible to not just talk it. You know, one thing I can say about Trump, and we're going to talk about that. Donald Trump, is he a maniac? To me, is he egotistical? Yes, he is. Is he one of the most misogynistic, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, racist, and bigoted guys to ever run for president? Yes, but guess what? He is the president. He's the president. He's the president. And what I like about it is you have the capacity and you have demonstrated the skill of being able to reach across the aisle and do bipartisan type things. Do you see any way that you can be able to get some federal help here in Chicago, in the county of Cook, during a Trump's presidency?
I do. I believe that. I believe that one of the big initiatives that Republicans and Democrats all agree upon is an infrastructure bill. I believe that we need to fix our roads and bridges. We need to put people to work. That's one bill, of course, that can create thousands of jobs all across the country. And so, and rebuild our infrastructure. And we got to do that. We got crumbling bridges and infrastructure. Those who drive understand this. But that's one way. The other way is that the president has indicated a willingness to help with the violence in the city of Chicago if Chicago leaders ask for help. And so we must not be too big and too uppity that we're afraid to ask for help.
That's true.
I am going to ask for help. Now, we have a resolution pending in the county board that would do just that. It's going to be voted on February 8th. And it is my hope that my colleagues will see the value.
What's the name of the resolution?
It's a resolution calling on President Trump to provide federal resources to help fight the violence. And those resources come in the form of additional job training grants, additional FBI and DEA agents to help coordinate with the Chicago Police Department and solve our homicide rate. I mean, their clearance rate right now is about 24%. So 81% of the homicides are going unsolved.
Unbelievable. This is amazing that you have the foresight to want to go directly to Trump. But nobody should be surprised because just as I did, you were one of the leaders in our city, in our county, saying that Chicago is in a state of emergency. I personally still believe that we are. What about you?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, you look at the numbers. I mean, you look at the 231 people shot in 23 days.
God.
That is a war.
I didn't know. Was that
is a war.
230?
231 people shot as of yesterday. And I'm sure more people have been shot today. It's sad to say, but
so
it
we got
seems like
offended
it's a way of life.
So we got offended when Trump said you can't walk down Chicago without getting shot. I mean, we didn't like him talking down to us, but it was really true.
Look, there are pockets of poverty. There are pockets where people are just in serious chaos and crisis. And we have to help individuals. Look, we have to give them an opportunity. We have to give them job training, and that's why I'm proud of you for opening up the doors of your church to make this opportunity available to Cook County residents, city residents, to get a job.
Thank you so
we're
much.
excited about it.
Thank you so much for uh, extended the invitation. Listen, we have a caller. Caller, welcome to the show. You're on with Commissioner Boykin.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes? My name is Milton Taylor, and I'm a 69-year-old Vietnam vet. Uh, the
You turn your television.
police. Hello?
We have a veteran on the line. Give us your question.
I have a statement.
Make your statement real quick.
The fraternal order of police all over the United States need to be abolished because they were all white Roman Catholic racists.
Thank you for your call. Thank you so much. The caller just said that the Fraternal Order of Police needs to be abolished all across America because they are white Roman Catholics. What is your response to that?
I'm not so sure that's the case. Look, we have some decent police officers, and it's up to all of us as community leaders
Sure.
to make sure that we hold the FOP accountable. When that new contract is negotiated with the city, we need to be at the table to make sure that the community input is a part of that new contract that's struck with the FOP. So, look, we got some decent police officers. We have some who've not served the community well, and those who haven't served well ought to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and they should be fired from the police department. We got to clean it up. But this initiative that we have to have firefighters, police, EMTs, and teachers move into these endangered communities, I believe is a phenomenal incentive.
Sure it
and
is.
We're excited about it.
Thank you so much. And let me just add, we have never given the message that we are anti-police. We are anti-police violence and anti-police using excessive force. Okay? I don't want to be in a community where there are no police. Never do I ever want to be in a community where there are no police. First of all, who's going to protect me from little Pookie, who's out of control sometimes? I just got to keep it 100. All right. Thank you so much. That was pretty interesting when you made the statement about you going directly to President Trump. Were you at the inauguration?
I was at the inauguration because, and let me tell you why. Look, this country does this every 4 years. It's a peaceful transition of power. It does not happen in many places around the world. And so this is something that we ought to celebrate about America. Do I agree with the president and his positions? Did I vote for him? Absolutely not. But the election is over. He won the election. Let's give him a chance to govern. Let's hold him accountable. And let's be ready to go in 2018 and vote in 2018.
Sure. You know, what's your response to the women's marches all across the country? Me personally, now I'll let you, maybe you may not want to say it like me. I'm outspoken. You are too, but in a different, more articulated fashion. But, I was glad to some extent that people had somewhere to take this passion. But I wonder where in the heck was this passion on and before November the 8th? Or else we wouldn't have to deal with a Donald J. Trump in the White House. But nevertheless, I guess that there's some value in letting him know that we won't take his fascist type leadership sitting down, and we'll also send a message to Congress that we're serious and we're watching, and there may be hell to pay to just blindly go along with everything that he wants to do to satisfy his base. What's your thoughts?
Elected officials understand three things. They understand money, they understand the ability to organize and people, they understand votes. So I think that, President Trump and his team, looking out the window and seeing all those people, not just from in the United States, but around the world,
Sure.
organizing and marching and protesting, I think that that would send shockwaves, that we better watch what we do in terms of our policies, that we don't try to take women back and we don't try to take minorities back.
Wow.
To a place that was a dark past or dark part of our history in the United States. But I'm proud of the women who marched.
We got another call on the line. If any of you have a question or a comment or statement, you got a couple minutes. Look, time always flies when I have an extraordinary guest like the commissioner. Caller, welcome to the show. State your comment or question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Listening to what your gentleman saying that you like to have professional physicians, doctors, Indians, lawyers, Indian chiefs to move in certain areas. Do you think that they want to bring their family into an area where they think they might be some trouble? I mean, would you want your family to live in there? If you're able to get out, you get out. Number two, how can you talk about the president and then turn around and ask him to help you? Listen, again, maybe it's people, not presidents and lawyers and Indians. It's the people in the neighborhoods gonna be the ones to try to get rid of that census that's going crazy. Let me get out there so I can hear you.
So much. Listen, he wants to know. He said, "How do you expect these professionals to want to come back in these endangered neighborhoods to get a house? Why would they want to come back in these neighborhoods and they've been blessed to do much better and live in better neighborhoods? And then secondly, how do we expect to get some help from Trump when we are fighting him?" Go ahead.
First of all, let me say this. I'm not fighting President Trump. I'm holding President Trump's feet to the fire.
True.
I'm holding him accountable. I am not fighting him, and I am not talking negative about him. This is something that he indicated that he wanted to do to help with the violence in Chicago. He's president for all of us, whether we like it or not. He's not just president for rural America
That's right.
or the South. He's president for Illinois, too. I know Illinois didn't vote for him, but he's the president for Illinois. And all of us ought to hope that he succeeds in what he does, because if he succeeds, guess what? America succeeds, and guess what? That filters down to all of us. And if he doesn't succeed, then we don't succeed. And so I want him, I will ask him for help because I'm going to hold him accountable. The other part of the question was, why should we expect professionals to move back into communities that are endangered? The very same reason why Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was willing to move into Lawndale with his family. Because he wanted to take on this oppression. He wanted to lift the people out of hopelessness. The very reason why a lot of professionals who want to go back and give back. Look, this is going to impact those 1,000 police recruits that the mayor is trying to recruit. These guys are starting out. People would love a free home. If they have to live there for 5 years.
That's a great incentive. That's a great incentive.
You live there for 5 years, and then it's your home.
Absolutely.
And guess what? It doesn't mean that you have to stay there beyond that time. But who knows? Maybe your presence there will help to alleviate some of this violence and help to stabilize the neighborhood and bring it back. And maybe it could be a great neighborhood again.
And let me tell you what's going on. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock at Greater St. John Church, 1256 North Waller, where I serve as the pastor, the police department will be there with an open house, 5 o'clock, 5 to 6. Listen, we're trying to diversify the police department. Come ready to fill out applications, come ready to ask questions. But also earlier in that morning, because of this commissioner's hard work, there will be a workforce development at that same location, 9:30 to noon, coaching people with resumes and giving them job leads. Give me all the training you want, but give me a job lead. Commissioner, it's been a blast, and I'm just hyena happy, elephant excited, and dolphin delighted whenever I can have you on. Because let me tell you, I, as a person who proudly got 60,000 votes as a Hillary Clinton delegate, it took me a while before I could even watch MSNBC or CNN, because Trump, just to look at his face emotionally, it would just give me a certain reaction. But he's the president now, and we got to move forward. I'm not going to go put my head in the sand for 4 years. We got to advocate for the people, so I appreciate what you're doing, getting some help for us here in Chicago, here in Cook County, here in the state of Illinois. Listen, you've been such a kind audience. We're so sorry we were not able to get to the rest of our calls, but we'll be back here next week. And certainly, Richard Boykin is on the case, and we will support him in every way we can. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week. Coming right back at you. And we need all hands on deck.
Thank you.